Hello, everybody, and welcome back to LUB Society. This is Dr. Hariri, and in this presentation, I'm gonna give you some information about visual learning, particularly when it comes to vocabulary learning. Okay, first of all, as you know, at LUB Society, we are running one of the most comprehensive, to my current knowledge, it is the most comprehensive vocabulary building package with actually images and illustrations. We have illustrated up to 2,800 advanced academic vocabulary items. We have used them in context, in authentic context, and also with images and illustrations, which is unprecedented. Not ordinary vocabulary, by the way, not concrete vocabulary like table, computer, etc., but advanced abstract vocabulary such as envy, carpe diem, begrudge, sarcasm, etc. So you might be willing to know why we have gone through this painstaking process over 7 years. But the reason is that actually I'm using my notes. So what I'm going to tell you is rather neurological in nature, by nature, but I have to provide you with some scientific proof. First of all, our brain actually is in the first place an image processor and then a word processor. It means that we tend to forget something which is not concrete, which is not tangible, and they tend to be elusive. It means that they are subject to forgetfulness, and we automatically, even our brain automatically functions in this way that after a while we forget those elusive words. And particularly, as I said, when it comes to abstract vocabulary, something which is not tangible, you cannot feel it, you cannot see that or perceive that with your five senses. Also, according to the website psychologytoday.com, which is a prestigious website, by the way, the part of the brain in charge of vocabulary learning is pretty smaller in comparison to visual cortex. And on the other hand, the visual cortex actually is taking a huge part of sensory cortex. So we need to just consider the widespread and also prevalent influence of visual cortex when it comes to learning vocabulary items which are abstract. And also with the help of images and concepts, the right hemisphere of your brain is activated, which is very fundamental when it comes to developing photographic memory. So if you develop a photographic memory of the words, chances are so slim that you will forget them, at least soon. And especially we have tried to just fulfill this achievement with the help of exaggerated illustrations. So we have illustrated the words, those 2,800 words, with a slightly exaggerated, let's say, focus, so that your feelings and emotions are aroused. And this way you can, your brain in a fraction of a second actually can make associations, conceptual associations between the words and also their entities and their meanings in your brain, and you are not aware of that. It happens almost instantaneously. And the other point is that at LLB Society, actually, we have categorized all of the words, all of the growing number of vocabulary items. So far, 2,800 advanced vocabulary items, including best-selling course books such as 1,100 words you need to know, 504 absolutely essential words, 601 words you need to know, and GRE vocabulary flashcards from Kaplan. So all of these words, 2,800 words, and the number is increasing every day, are categorized semantically or thematically. For example, when you learn a word about education, about teaching or academics, it falls into the category of education. And if you just click on the education keyword or tag, you will access all the other vocabulary items about education, and therefore actually you can learn vocabulary items in thematic categories, which is again actually unprecedented. And you might ask this question, or this question might pop up in your mind, that it's better to use translation or the intervention of your mother tongue. But according to recent studies, translation not only slows down the process of using the language in practice, but also actually in the long term it can increases the possibility of forgetfulness. I mean, you will forget. Your mind might be like a sieve that whenever you put it in your mind, actually it will disappear, because of the fact that translation in this particular case in the long term can add a layer of complexity to language learning, to vocabulary learning. And remember, for example, when you go to a supermarket and you want to ask for something, or if you want to translate everything, actually it slows down the process of communication. It's not that communicative, and therefore we do not recommend that. And at LLB Society we're running a bilingual academy of English and Persian. And when we are teaching English, we don't use translation. And the same happens when we want to teach Persian. We don't use English, let's say fundamentally or essentially. The other point is that apart from visualization, which adds concreteness to your learning, we also use another pillar, which is contextualization. So contextualization and visualization, both of them go hand in hand to add meaningful learning and deep learning to your vocabulary learning. And what's the meaning of contextualization? Contextualization means that you learn a vocabulary in authentic context, in real context, as opposed to instructional context or instructional materials. For example, when you just go to your dictionary and look up a word in your dictionary, what you see most of the time is a kind of instructional example, which is artificial. However, at LLB Society, all of those 2,800 words have been used in authentic, real context. For example, the example is from a magazine, has been extracted from a magazine, from a website, from the script of a movie, from a book or ebook, and so on and so forth, by acknowledging the source. So if you're curious to just further your reading, you can go click on the link, and also you will go through further reading. And you can, if you're curious, by the way. And in the majority of cases, our students or our members actually are curious, because the materials are interesting. For example, you will learn how to have a healthier body, how to meditate properly, how to become more optimistic in life. These are authentic materials, so that after a while you forget that you're learning English or even Persian, because we are employing or applying the same strategy to our Persian teachings. And also remember, if you learn vocabulary items, either in English or Persian or any other second languages, foreign languages, if you just learn vocabulary out of context, for example, you just take a list of vocabulary items and you just practice them, first of all, these are out of context, and then your learning is not that deep, and therefore actually you cannot get some clues from the previous and following vocabularies, and you cannot work on your guessability, because actually a successful language learner must be ready to guess the meaning of unseen words. But without context, you do not have this chance to learn vocabulary in interaction with the previous and following sentences. And therefore deep learning is not that realized, And so at LLB Society, for all of those actually 2,800 words, which is increasing every day, almost every day, you will have these elements. First of all, you will see the phonetic alphabet, phonetic International Phonetic Alphabet, we call it IPA, so that you are able to just pronounce the words correctly, even if the words are unseen to you. So this is the first time you're seeing the words. So IPA is one of the elements, and then clear images and illustrations that are intended to arouse your feelings and emotions, so that you will go through deep learning. So illustration, number 2, definition, clear definition, and not translation, by the way. Synonyms, antonyms, if they exist, parts of a speech, if it exists, and authentic material, authentic example. For example, about sarcasm, I have selected a passage from a very famous book, and that passage actually is used to illustrate, to give further explanation about the function of that word, I mean sarcasm. And therefore you are able to practice and enrich your vocabulary, and at the same time practice reading comprehension. And what could be better than this? And the other point is that we have installed one of the best text-to-speech functionality at our website, and it helps you to select any word or any text and to listen to the selected text. So this way you can also improve your listening comprehension at the same time. So you can improve your reading comprehension, your listening comprehension, vocabulary enrichment, and also enjoy the process of learning. And the other point is that at the bottom of each lesson you can see the tags and the keywords, and if you just click on any one, you will see more related lessons. This is very important because usually a visitor or a student actually in each session or cycle they stay at our website for at least 1 hour on average, which is again unprecedented. You cannot see that in other websites, and also this is just because of the fact that they have almost everything they need, and they can also actually ask us any question if they have in our forums or comment forums and the asynchronous channels of communication. So that was all I could get from the benefits of visual learning as opposed to non-visual learning. And also I've written an article, and I will provide you with the link. It is free. I mean everybody can access this article, and you can study that on your own. You don't need to be a registered member. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope to see you soon in our next video, and also perhaps my next presentation in English or Farsi. Thank you so much. Take care, and bye-bye, everybody.